Hey everybody, welcome to the live stream lesson. Today we're going to be continuing with Suzuki book number 2. So we're going to be playing Learning Hunter's Course today. So first let's take a listen to how the piece goes, okay? All right. Ready? Yeah, really good. So let me show you how to play this piece and also how you should go about practicing it. This piece is not too difficult for your left hand, but it is a little bit challenging for your bow arm, bow hand, as well as the rhythm. We have a lot of different rhythms going on here. We're going to be using quarter notes, eighth notes, as well as the 16th notes, right? So if you're not familiar with all the different rhythms, you can take a look at my video that I did. The link is in the description. Check that out, but I'll be explaining it here as we go along. So let's take a look at the very first line here, right? So we start with a pickup note, which is this right here, this guy. So imagine that there is an entire measure here. So we're in 2/4, so there's 2 beats. Imagine there's a measure of 2 beats here, and so it's 1 and 2 and, right? So on the and of the second beat, we're going to be entering basically the last 8th note of the measure and then into the first beat. So it'll be like this. I'm gonna count it and this is how we're gonna play. So it's gonna be 1, I'll count full measure and then another measure, that's the pickup measure. So 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and. So that's how we enter with the pickup measure. Now, here we have a quarter note and then we have 4 16th notes. So if we remember from the rhythm video, we should be fitting these 4 16th notes within 1 beat, right? So we'll be counting 1 and 2 E and like that. So 1 and 2. I'll play it. So it sounds like this. First measure sounds like this. So 1 and 2 E and 1 and 2 and. So it sounds like that. So let's just try that bit. The first 2 measures with the pickup. So 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 E I went along, but that so that's how you should be playing the first two measures. And then the last measure we played the last measure goes like this: one knee and so try to play all four notes in one bow, and you're just gonna be moving your fingers to the rhythm. So one knee and like that. So let's just try all of that, just the first line together. And then we're just getting used to all the different motions, all the different rhythms. So I'm gonna be counting the eighth notes, right? 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. So remember that you can fit 2 16th notes in 1/8 note. So it's like 1 and 2 and 3, 2 and 1 and 2 and like that. All right, let's just try and play together. 1 and 2 and ready, set, go. 1 and 2 E and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and just like that. Let's just try it one more time together. I think you got it. 1 and 2 and 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 really good. So try to practice that. The bowing is going to be a little bit tricky because we have the slurs, right? Slurs and the string crossing. So remember, you're going to just pay attention to the bow, and when you cross over to the A string, that you are clearing the D string. Your bow hair is no longer touching the D string, right? That's going to be a bit more important later, okay? All right, so let's just try moving on. Let's play the second line. The second line is pretty much the same except for the last two measures. So let's just play the first two measures slowly. 1, 2, ready, go. And 1 and, oh, sorry. So 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and all right, let's just stop there really quickly. So the last two bars, what we're going to be doing is, so we're already in first position, right? So when we play that open A, we're gonna be moving our left hand to second position. If you remember second position, we put our second finger where our fourth finger used to be, right? So on the A string, we're going to be placing our second finger on that D. And then the next two notes, so if we remember, each finger is a half step apart, right? So D, and then C sharp, and then where our fourth finger comes down, so it's D, D sharp or E flat, and then E, right? So C sharp, E, and then go back to second finger. So that's our second position note on the A string, right? So let's just try the last two measures really quickly. Let's just do bow separately, ignore the bowing, the slur. So open A, D, with second finger, C sharp, and then fourth finger, and then back to D. There you go. So that's gonna be, that by itself is pretty easy. It becomes tricky when you're coming from the previous measures, right? So let's just start from the second measure. So D, so 2 and 1 and shift. So that's gonna be what's tricky when you're coming from the second measure. Let's just try this line all together. So 1 and ready and 2 and 1 and shift. So that's how you play the second line. Let's just try playing this first two lines all together, and then we'll move on, okay? All right, so remember the pickup eighth note. I'm gonna be counting one full measure and then the pickup measure, okay? You'll hear it. All right, ready? 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 2 E and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and get ready, shift 1 and rest. All right, really good. All right, so take your time with this first part. Get used to the rhythms. If you have trouble playing the rhythm, sometimes clapping the rhythm, so like and 1 and 2 E and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and so as long as you remember that each of so an eighth note is twice as fast as quarter notes, and 16th notes are twice as fast as the eighth notes. As long as you remember it's that, it kind of helps. If you're having trouble playing it, try clapping the rhythm first. I think that'll help. All right, so let's move on to the next section. Sorry, what's going on? Did it die? There we go. All right. Let's move on to the next lines. Give me 1 second. There we go. So just remember that we have this A, open A, as a pickup. So just remember that. So here is pretty simple. Let's just play through it. The only thing that you're gonna have to worry about is at the very end, that B, A, G, A, 16th notes. But let's just play the first line really quickly. Remember the A, eighth note pickup. Kind of like the end of the first line here. Just remember that. It's like that, and then we play that part. All right, let's try just the first line. Pretty straightforward. 1 and 2 and pick up note with A. B and 2 and 1 and 2 and 2 and 1 and rest. Up and 2 and try it. And all right. So if if you made it that far, if you gave it a go on the 16th notes, really good. I'm sure it's not too difficult, but try and be careful of the bow. So this one's a little bit tricky because we only play on the D string once and then we go back, right? And it's also hard because we're placing our pinky and then we also have to play the open string. So there's a couple of things we have to worry about. Yeah, so let's just focus on that. So remember, let's just do it slowly. Let's do bow separately. I think having the left hand and bow separate for a little bit and working on it separately will help. All right, so let's just play B and let's just do that and let's just repeat all of that. So we're just gonna loop it, repeat. And get used to the motion of your fingers there. Now, when you're comfortable with that, let's start adding the bowing to it. So first, try slurring two notes together. So you're gonna slur BA and then G, those two notes together. So it's like so slur those two together, two groups of two notes, two 16th notes, right? And then try to play now all four in one bowing. And we're just gonna do it back and forth. So it'll be like this. So 1, E, and ready, go. And full bow. Again, up bow. Try it one more time. So, once you get used to that, what you should be observing is your bow hair. Make sure that when you're playing on the D string that it's just enough to clear the A string so your bow hair isn't touching the A string, right? But you don't have to go so far over that you're almost playing on the G string as well. So because you're gonna come back to the A string immediately after that one note. So just tilt the bow enough to just play the A string, or just play the D string only, and then go back, right? So you can control that with your bow elbow. Don't do that so much with your shoulder. Try to do a chicken wing flap, right? So raise your elbow down, up like that. That's gonna help you control the bow a little bit better. Eventually, you'll start using a little bit more finger motion, but that'll be later. So let's just try playing this entire section in rhythm. And then we'll keep on going, okay? So 1 and 2 and ready, set, pick up with the A. And 1 and 2 and 1 and rest. And 1 and 2 and 1 and yeah, just like that. All right, so let's take a look at the next line because I believe it has the same problem, not problem, but the same, oops, sorry, too far. is it? There we go. So like this. So we have that in the first line, third and fourth measure. We have that same thing again. So let's just try playing this this line. First line, let's just try playing it. 1 and 2 and ready, set, go. And slur and 1 E and 1 and rest. Let's just try until there. 1 and 2 and ready, set, go. Sorry, is there a pickup in that? Yes. So remember, there's another pickup of A. So I'll remind you of that. 1 and 2 and pick up with A. So, if that doesn't sound good, don't worry. Just there's a lot of things happening. Another thing to remember is when you play this G with the fourth finger, you gotta make sure to make a tunnel with your hand, right? So in order for you to not make any weird noises on the A string, what happens is if you're slightly touching the string, so you put your G fourth finger down, your pinky, but if your pinky slightly touching the A string, but not quite pressed down, it's gonna actually sound a harmonic, so it'll sound a different note. So just be careful of making sure your pinky is making room for the open A string, okay? All right, let's just try that one more time. 1 and 2 and pick up with the open A. Let's keep on going and rest. And 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Awesome. All right. So that open Ds, that's a good way for us to practice counting, actually. So we're just gonna feel the eighth notes, right? 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and. So that's gonna be our 16th notes. 1 E and 2 E and 1 E and 2 E and 1 E and 2 E and. So let's just try clapping the rhythm first. So I'm just gonna count 1 and 2 and then we're gonna start clapping from this part, the open D. Dun 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 dun. Okay. So. Right there. Okay, so that's where we're gonna start clapping. Just those two measures, okay? 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. So that's the beat. That's the rhythm. That's how you count and also feel the rhythm and the subdivisions. Okay. So let's just try playing with the pickup note from here. And then let's go until, you know what? Let's just try playing all of this once. And then remember that there is a pickup of an A, open A. All right. Ready? Let's just try playing this section. 1 and 2 and 1 and open A. And. 1 2. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and yeah, there we go. Sorry. All right, so we're now officially through the first section, and then we're at the very end section, which is I think this is the fun part. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull up to here. Oh, there we go. All right. So let's start from the repeat sign, because that's where the phrase actually starts, and I think it'll be easier if we hear how the phrase goes. Okay, so let's just let me quickly explain how to play that. So it's just you play this D and the C natural like that. And then on the open A, when you play the open A, what you're going to do is hop back, play, and then lift your bow, and then go all the way back to the frog. But try not to keep the bow on it. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Not that. Hop, 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 like that. So it's gonna get you're gonna have to get used to it. But remember what you should feel. This is actually very important, but when you place your bow on the string, try to also pinch a little bit. So try to do this. You can do it with your wrist completely, just like move your wrist as if you're turning a doorknob, or you can pinch your first finger against the stick, and you'll notice that the stick will go down towards the string. You kind of, it sounds ugly now, but that's the sound that you want to be able to make. So, and then what you do is just relax your hand like that. Or you can actually lift up the bow as well. So let's just try just that. Let's just keep on repeating that. And remember to lift up your bow. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Like that. Alright, so let's just try from the repeat now. And then we'll keep on going. And I'll explain the fortissimo section in the first repeat. Okay, 1 and from the repeat. And hop, hop, lift, repeat, and second line. Let's try it. And B, G, and 1 and 2. All right. So hopefully that part wasn't too hard, but so let's just quickly look at the second line and the second line, that section, right? So a good trick for this one is try to keep your first finger always on the string. You don't necessarily have to keep it pressed down, but try not to lift up your first finger. Especially when you play that G on the D string. Just try and keep your first finger fixed, and lift your fourth finger up and down like that. So let's just try this section by itself, and then we'll do the first repeat, okay? So from the fortissimo, 1 and ready, and 2, 2, and 1, and rest. Repeat. And 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and hop. And fortissimo. And we will be playing second ending. So I didn't move the sheet music yet, like that. So second ending is that. So there's quite a lot of things that you have to be thinking about in this piece. The left hand itself isn't too difficult, which is good. But there's a lot of new things happening with the bow. But take it slowly. Take it as we did, phrase by phrase, and at the end, just play it all together like what we're about to do. Let me pull up the sheet music. Yeah. All right. So got an upgrade to the system. I can now officially write stuff on the sheet music. Like, for example, we can do this. We can do this. We can do that. So those are phrase markings. So remember, those are the places that we worked on. But let's try playing all of it together. And yeah, I'll be shouting some stuff to remind you guys. And we'll work our way up. As far as speed, we'll play each time a little bit faster. And then we'll end the lesson with the playing with the accompaniment once more, okay? All right, so let's try all of the parts together from the beginning to the end, okay? Remember the pickup measure. I'll be counting one measure just empty, and then the pickup measure, okay? So let's just play it slowly in the measure in the speed that we were working on, and then let's play it faster afterwards, okay? Ready? 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and up and 1 and 2 and 1 and shift, stay in position. 1 and rest, and go back, and 1 and rest, and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Rest, and 1 and 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and hop really good. So let me quickly make some notes. So remember to, let's do it with red. Hop the bow. Keep first finger down. Yeah, sorry, let's do it much bigger. No, sorry. First finger down. Those are simple reminders. You can also write like to be just to kind of remind ourselves of the beat pulses, right? All right, let's try it one more time. Let's play it a little bit faster, and then we'll play it one more time at the and we'll keep on getting faster, okay? So let's play it. So, let's go that fast. 1 and 2 and like that. 1 E and da taka 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 de me taka 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 taka. 1 and 2. Ready? 1 and 2 and ready, set, go. 1 and 2 E and shift. 1, 2 and shift back. Really good. All right, so let me just make a quick reminder of this part. Oop. Right, that's in second position. Everything else is in first position, so I think it's pretty straightforward. You just have to be careful of the first ending and the second ending, right? All right, let's just try for the last time playing it together. and then we'll call it a day with by playing with the accompaniment for the last time. Okay. All right. So yeah, almost to the speed of the accompaniment, but not quite that fast. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Taka, 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 taka. How about that fast? 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 and 2 and tika tak, tika tak, tika taka tak, 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 taka, 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 tak. I think that's a good speed. All right. So 1 bar for nothing, and then the pickup measure, and then we'll come in, okay? Ready? 1 and 2 and 1 and go. 1 and 2 E and a 1 and 1 and shift. 1 and 2. Shift back and 1 and 2. Second ending. All right. So we are playing it slightly faster each time. Don't try and do it as fast as we did. Be comfortable playing it slow first. Get used to counting out loud. So count out loud all the eighth notes, like 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and how I count the 16th notes is, or like for example, I can do 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2. If I don't want to think about the beats, I just count. I just say taka 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 taka. You can just make any kind of noise with your mouth to just vocalize the rhythm, right? Taka taka dun dun di da 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 da. So try to do that. It helps a lot to just vocalize the rhythm or clap. To feel how all the different subdivisions are working. Okay, that will be my tip. Other than just practicing, just vocalize the rhythm as well. All right, so let's play with the accompaniment for the last time, and we'll call it a day for the lesson today. All right, let me just. All right, ready? I'm not gonna say anything, and let's just play through it together. All right. Yeah. Really good. So that's gonna be it for today. Thanks for tuning in for if you're tuning in live, thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it on the comment. I'll try and get back to it. I'll also try and address it in the next lessons and things like that. I'll know what kind of videos to make also, what kind of information you guys are looking for. So yeah, just leave a comment. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Happy practicing. Bye.